Hi, this is Marsha Gomes-Mckie. I'm an author and illustrator from Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to my studio. This is where most of the magic happens. I do my book covers, I do my drafts, my paintings, my drawings. If I'm doing a children's book, this is where I'm at, laying out the entire book and drawing. I also do everything for my young adult books. I love to draw. So I have over 20 books, and sometimes I can't tell if I rather drawing or writing. I think it's equal footing for me. I love them both. I also wear a number of other hats. I am the founder of Caribbean Books Foundation. I am right now I'm an ML for National Novel Writing Month for Trinidad and Tobago. I am also the regional advisor for Caribbean South for the Society of Children Book Writers and Illustrators. So I have a lot of hats, but at the end of the day, I am an author and illustrator. So let's get into it. So AFW Lit Fest, thank you so much for inviting me. So when I think about folklore, yes, I do think about voodoo and sukunya and stuff like that. I embrace the language, voodoo, obia, sukunya, lajogas, papaboa. And I think a big part of writing truthfully and writing elegantly Caribbean folklore is to embrace this language that we have. There's nothing bad about it. Just like talking about fairies, and talking, and different people have different types of witchcraft and different things they do, and it may not even be witchcraft. It just might be healers healing themselves. So you definitely, if you want to write about Caribbean folklore, you have to embrace that language. That language is us. It is what it's the foundation of folklore. So it's definitely what I mean about Caribbean folklore. But Caribbean folklore is so much more. Caribbean folklore isn't just folklore, it's mythology. We have an entire range of over 20 something characters, which is, so it's not just standalone. We have mythology when it comes here. We could rival Greek mythology because we have so many people we could talk about and write about. So when I talk about Caribbean folklore, I talk about all those stories that your grandmother and your great grandmother and then your grandmother's grandmother told her, and then it's told to me, and we just embrace it, and then the stories that I tell to my daughter. So that is what Caribbean folklore is to me. Caribbean folklore is mine. It belongs to me. It is my culture and my tradition, and it's something that I absolutely positively enjoy. Folklore in the Caribbean, well, I wrote a book called City Caribbean Folklore Legends. So let's see. Most of us have Anansi. Most of us have Anansi because it's something from Africa. So if you have slavery in the country, Anansi came with it. Amansi and Moko Jumbies, these Bumoko spirit. So we also have the Buck and the Baku, or the Baku. It's a Guyanese folklore, and the Buck does bring you riches, the Buck does bring you luck, and everybody wants a little buck, a little short man, keep him in your house, and he will bring you luck and riches. So there's also doings in Trinidad and Tobago. Those are unchristened children. They just roam in the woods looking for mischief. They're playing, mostly playing, and they're looking to play with your children and take them away. So there's also the Heartman from Barbados. There's Lajobless and Lagahu. I am doing a story in Lagahu. So he's this guy with, in the night, he's with dragon, his coffin, and he has his lights over his head. So I'm assuming you mess with him, he bury you and put a light on your grave. Very interesting, very spooky. The guy behind me is Papa Boa. He's the protector of the forest. He is, what I love about him is that he's a hero. Most of our folklore are villains. They always up to something. They're always up to some kind of mischief. So when you have to write about them, you have to sort of just sit down and think, oh gosh, how I'm developing his character. But Papa is a hero, true and true. But there's also Mama Delo. She's the protector of the oceans. I think I'm trying to remember the country. They call her River Mama. So it's so many different folklore characters, and many of these characters came from the need to keep children inside, so you tell them scary stories. But it's definitely something that is something that we have in common. throughout the Caribbean, we have a lot of scary folklore characters, but they're not without their merit, because you could, once you could tell a good story, you could take that character and spin it, and you can get them in different settings. Mamadero is from the ocean. You have most of them are in the forest. The moon gaze and the phantom, he's sometimes in the city because he's always watching the moon or the full moon. A lot of us have the talk about the silk cotton tree, or half a tree, it's the same tree, where you have spirits. The spirits, there's a different spiritual world behind the half a tree, so that's where the folklore actually reside and live. So so you could actually tap into that. There's also the rolling calf. There's also the sapping. The sapping is a woman who has a lot of husbands, and her husband dies a lot. So it says she has a spirit of a snake who kills these men. And the sapping can also be a man, so that's very interesting. So yes, the rolling calf and the three-footed horse, I believe it's from Jamaica. So they are also animals that roam at night and they will attack you. But spirit of animals, I didn't say the animals in fact. So there's a lot of spirits, a lot of jumbies. In Trinidad we call them jumbies, and in other islands we call them duppies. There's a lot of jumbies in the place. So, and we love jumbies, definitely. Jumbies are potential stories, fiction. So yes, in Montserrat, you have the mermaid of Chance Peak. So I don't know if she's the same as Mamadero, but in Tobago, I know the story. The mermaids were actually men, and the fairy maids were women. So there's a completely new, and there is a completely different spin on mermaids. So I really like that. I really like that stories. So, and everybody has their own, yes, everybody have their own Anansi stories. Most of the stories of people in the village, in rural, really about rural villages and stuff like that. And yes, authors can intentionally choose to use these stories and characters to create their own, because that's what they're there for. These characters, as I said before, it belongs to us. It belongs to the people of the Caribbean. We are the people who have to carry these stories on. Just as our grandparents told the story to us and they made a choice to carry it on, we too should make that choice to carry it on. But it doesn't say that we have to carry it on with the same way that they told it to us. For example, when you look at Greek mythology and you look at the original Greek stories, these people are crazy. They are vindictive, everybody killing everybody. It's really crazy. But when you adapt it for film, and you adapt it for the books, and you adapt it for children's books, and you adapt it for different literature, you cannot tweak the story a little bit because you're thinking about your audience, and that's what a writer does. Writer writes for a certain audience. So you're not gonna be dragging no coffin in a children's book. Yes, you could have Ilago in a children's book, but you have to do it in a different way, because you now are looking at your audience. So you definitely have to create the stories, and we have the foundation. What I always say is you have the foundation there. You have the foundation of the stories, and then writing is an art form. So you now take your imagination and you develop the stories into something different. So everybody doesn't have to write the same story, because I wrote a book on Isukunya, the very first Isukunya, and it's a full-length adult novel about how the Isukunya came to. I did a historical look at it through slavery, and how she came, and how she did the pact with Shango, and how she actually became a Sukunya. But that doesn't mean somebody else can't write a story about a Sukunya, because these stories belong to all of us. I don't have copyright on the Sukunya now. Anybody can write a story about the Sukunya. So we definitely have to look at the stories, and we put our own twist it. We're doing them anime, we're doing for children's books, we're doing for young adult novels, we're doing for romance. Just imagine a folklore romance. So, and people can write it. Everybody have a different talent. And the thing is, you're writing it because you want to develop the industry. And the more books you have on folklore, is the better and the bigger the genre. So we want to have a folklore fantasy fiction genre. We want to talk about Caribbean mythology. We don't want to just have individual books. We want, when we go on Amazon, we could click Caribbean folklore and we see the whole set of books come down. It shouldn't just be a by the side category. It has to be the main category. And to do that, we as the writers of the Caribbean have to start developing and embracing our language and embracing our literature and embracing our mythology, our folklore. And when we put these books out there, we just write and it becomes a legend. So if I say Papa Boa, you know what, I think you're gonna get a psychic, and I make up a psychic for Papa Boa, then maybe in 50 years that would be a new folklore. And it's something that I created. And yes, how do we stay true to the original intent for the community and the persons who created the folklore? Staying true to the original intent, I don't think it's about writing exactly what they wanted to write, because you can't. Folklore is about oral tradition. So great grandfather make up a story, and then it came back down, and it came down, and it came down, and it came down to generation, and everybody know that it's not the same story. So the same story that was 100 years ago, during or 300 years ago, during slavery, that you told your children because you didn't want them to go out in the woods, in the bushes, for anybody to kidnap them, is not the story that we have today. And it's not the story that we need today. Staying true to the content is making sure they stay alive. Because you have to think of the audience of today. You can't be telling a 100-year-old story and expect the youths of today, the children of today, the parents of today, the adults of today, to say that's relevant. So what we're doing now is we're looking at relevance. So we have to tell a story for the 20th century, 21st century. For 2023, that's the story we're telling. We're telling a story about folklore for the audience of today, because you can't just be writing. You have to think about your audience. It's a process. A writer is a business person, and you have to think about who you're selling the book to and what it is, the content of the story. So for me, staying true to the content is that I will keep Papa Boa. Yes, he is the father of the forest. But you see how he looks? He's not an old, weird, hunchback old man running in the forest. My Papa Boa is strong and he looks like a hero. So when I pull that out, that is what I pulled out. I looked at everything and I said, nah, Papa have to look a certain way. And he does look a certain way. So in my story, I have the characters look. I want them to look sexy. I want them to look alluring. I want them to be marketable. So, and people might say, you're not being true to the content because he's supposed to be some old man haggard out. No, he is not. This is Marsha Gomes-Mckie, Papa Boa. And I love that and I accept that because I understand that as a writer, I am the storyteller of today. So the storyteller of 100 years ago had their chance, but I am the storyteller of today. And I am staying true to the content by making sure it lives on. So the content will not die with me. The content stays and the content lives on. So ways that people could get started in folklore is think about the folklore of today. Think about Nancy with bear rabbits and bear tiger and all of them in the bush and in the forest and they're talking and they doing mischief and have ants and all of that. But we're bringing Nancy here today. We're bringing Nancy in our time. And Nancy now have the internet. And Nancy now could go to other islands. You don't just have to be on a banana boat. And Nancy on plane first class. So we're taking these stories. And we're taking these characters and we say, okay, we're bringing you here today and let me see what you look like. Papa Boa today is a different Papa Boa. Mama Dale, she have to think about pollution in the sea. She have to think about pollution in the river. She have to think about the oil rig exploding in the ocean. Mama Dale don't have a real thing to think about. More things than she's ever had to think about. The doings, just imagine trying to lure children of today. They doing need a tablet, they doing need a game, they doing can't just be there in the bush calling you so and children be like, yeah, really? I'm not coming behind you. So it definitely is a different time. And you have to tell a different story. And 50 years from now, it will also be a different time and you'll have to tell a different story. So it is not that the story is no longer relevant. It's just that the writers of today, the storytellers of today, have to write the story of today. So that I think that I'm definitely being true to the original content because I don't really change them up much, but I do put a fun twist on it. I always put a very today twist on it, and something that children could say, oh my gosh, I will do that. So I could just, just imagine what would happen with not just with a buck. And buck these days, you have this, you hide in this little man in your attic, and what would a buck look like today? Definitely, you have to look at that in Guyana. There's also this there's also the Lusca, which is like a half shark, half octopus, and he pulls these boats down, right? And usually it's a small boat, but just imagine you have a big submarine now, so you could be going up, with this Lusca, and you have torpedoes and stuff like that. So it's not something that definitely from that story, but it's something that you can make up. I would love to see folklore with animation. I love to see a range of folklore books, and I definitely want to try that. A range of folklore books for children, just children it down, and make them cute and wonderful and sweet, and so children would understand folklore. I love to see folklore characters in romance. You see Papa there? Wow, he could be a real good a romance character. Definitely have that romance potential. So you just, whatever genre you write in, it doesn't matter, whatever genre you write in, just put them in and have fun. Because that's it. This is Caribbean folklore is yours. This is something that belongs to you. It belongs to me. It's nobody. It's not like Marvel and this, you're saying you're trying to figure out what to do with Spider-Man. No, this is yours, and nobody's going to take it away from you. That oral tradition is definitely something that I will continue, but I also want it to be print tradition as well. I want to see those things in print. I want to see them in books. So that's how you create characters for today. You live in today, so you bring them with you, and you just say, okay, let me see let's talk this out. Let's talk and see. Definitely, my daughter and I we're doing this book, this Mystical Jack series, and before we write, because it's the both of us, we usually talk it out. We have this session, and sometimes we roll in with laughter. It is, yeah. And she was saying the Moko Jambis, and she said, "Mommy, I want the Moko Jambis to be officers, and they have to be these tall people coming over the with the legs coming over the city, and it's like a Moko Jambi patrol." And I was like, what? It's so much you could do with folklore, and it's so much fun you can have with folklore. Folklore is new, a new realm. It's something that people haven't touched before. A lot of people haven't really gone well in depth with it. So you make your own rules. What happens beyond the halfway tree? Go behind the halfway tree and see what happened there. What I remember is Nala Hopkinson did a book, Midnight Rubber, and she had like something behind the halfway tree. You can do so much more. You have so many people just laying foundations and read the books that they have now, and just write more. Where can you find my books? Well, the first thing I would say, just Google me. My name is Marsha Gomes-Mckie. Just Google Marsha Gomes-Mckie, and a whole set of things will come up. Because I'm active. I'm all over the place. On social media, same thing. My name, Marsha Gomes-Mckie. My company, I started a publishing house named a Jumbie Publishing House, because I just want that jumbiness to remember every time I write a check or anytime I do anything, I just want to remember you got to be focusing on jumbies. Jumbies is the thing. So I have a website, jumbipublishinghouse.com, and I have all my books there. I write under my name. I write under Miss Marshall. I also write under Martini Blue, which is more romance, and those are digital books. And I'm doing over a lot of my books, so doing over the covers, because I'm putting it on, instead of putting it on my name, I'm putting it under the company now. So you'll see a lot of a Jumbie Publishing House coming up. And then I have my own blog, which is marshagomes.com. And I'm starting a magazine called The Caribbean Pen, and we are going to feature lots of Caribbean books in that. So if you want to find me, just Google my name, check me on social media, reach out to me. My email is mgomesmckie@gmail.com, so you could email me at any time. Definitely, I am going to keep writing folklore because that's my passion. That's something that I really like. But I have other genres. I write nonfiction. I wrote a self-publishing book. I wrote a book on writing for children. I like writing romance, not just only folklore. I write paranormal sometimes, and I have a lot of children's book because I love to draw. At the end of the day, once I'm not writing, I stop writing, I rest, and I draw. And then I draw too much, I rest and I write. So so that's the process. So definitely, it's something that I love, and I would like to see more authors. I want company. I don't want to be in this alone. I want company. I want to talk about the different folklore books and read different folklore books, and I want to have discussions with a lot of people about folklore. Thank you to AFW Litfest for inviting me to be featured as an author. One day I will come across and we will have a lot of fun.